That was the new. Run that jingle one more time. Run that jingle one more. This is Jantize America.
Ownership and a reasonable cost. Jantize franchise on your own time. Partner with Jantize to fight the crime.
Jeff, I wish you could see Paul. He's in there dancing to his jingle right now. So, okay. So,
that the listeners are going to take away. I think one of them is going to be can't sing.
Right. We put that together this morning.
So we are talking with Paul Dorsey. He is, whether he likes it or not, a friend of mine of Jantize America. Paul and I have been friends for years. I have watched you build your organization. I pulled your website up, JantizeAmerica.com, and I wanted to see how many locations you had. Man, in Houston, Nashville, Colorado Springs. I mean, Florida. I mean, you all over, buddy. I mean, you are becoming a national brand, and I want people to understand something. This just is not a guy that has a franchise. He is the franchisor, which is a whole nother world, a whole nother skill set involved. Paul, thank you so much for being on the show, buddy.
Hey, thanks, Joe. And of course, it's only because the people I've surrounded myself that had made Jantize and myself grow. So thanks to all those.
I know your wife. There certainly are better people around you. So, yeah.
Right. So, and yeah, I've done it all. I mean, I have a unit franchisee, an area developer, a master franchisor, and now the franchisor. And we're an emerging brand. And even in that growth, guess what? I had to shut some territories down because they weren't producing and following the structure.
Right.
And that's what any franchise offers you, a step-by-step program for success. And if you follow that step-by-step program, it works. But when you begin to deviate from the step-by-step program with any franchise is when it doesn't work.
So let's go back a little bit. You know, I know I can say don't go back to 1963 with you, right? Okay. And just tell me a little bit about your background. Daggone, I got to be the oldest guy here. So talk just a little bit about how you got here, your story. How did that happen? How'd your journey happen, buddy?
Gosh, that's a good question. I don't want to go into my whole story into the past, but I got to tell you, I think I was born a franchisor because
I believe that with you. That's I've never heard somebody answer a question that way, but I believe that about you.
I was born a franchisor because in 1976, Wilbraham, Massachusetts, I had the largest paper route in New England where I delivered over 500 papers every morning. And it wasn't me and my dad in the back of the station wagon. I actually hired about 20 of my buddies, and the Springfield Republican would pay me 15 cents for every paper, and I would pay my buddies 10 cents for it. So we got on our bikes and went out, and everybody delivered 50 papers a day and came back. And of course, on Friday and Saturday mornings, that's when I went collecting.
Right. Interesting. Okay. And I see that with you. And let me tell you the other thing I see with you, Paul. You absolutely care that your franchisees make money. You want them to make money. That is very important to you.
Well, again, I care about people, and I have a passion for people, and I believe that we can play a significant role in the lives of other people. And again, if their passion is not helping others, I don't know what else it could be. But as long as you continue to help others get what they want, more people are going to help you get what you want.
You coined a phrase, or I assumed it came from you, that I love. I absolutely love it. Which you said, is it the commission or the, I forgot the other word.
Are you in it for the commission or are you in it for the mission?
There you go. That's right. Say that again because I love that.
Are you in it for the commission or are you in it for the mission?
Did you make that up or did you get that from somebody else? Because I give you credit for that one.
I think it's part of my jingle.
I love it. I just love it. So before we dig in a little bit with Jeff and talk about the fundamental concept of franchising and how Brokerage interacts with that, talk a little bit about your program, because I want the people that are listening, all 7 of them, and I hope my wife is listening, I make 8, to hear this loud and clear. There is not a better time to add additional income to your life by owning a small business, and your concept concept is perfect for that, and it is very, very reasonable to get in. Talk about that concept.
So great. And Jantize America is unique because most people think franchises, they think McDonald's. Hey, there's a franchisor and it's only a restaurant and there's a franchisee. But there's not. There's over, 75 different industries of franchising and over 3,000 different brands. But I never want to confuse the type of franchise with the brand of a franchise either, which again, we could probably do another show. So there's a unit franchisee, as Jeff was saying, that husband and wife team working on Main Street. There's a multi-unit franchisee. A guy would own 2 or 3 or 4 McDonald's or 2 or 3 or 4 unit franchises. An area developer, which I sell and support, and the guys would buy major cities like Charlotte or Chicago or Tampa and then invest and sell and support the local unit franchisees. And then, of course, a master franchise, which would buy a large territory. I have some negotiations going on now with some guys out of Canada who would become Jantize Canada. We'd change it to a Maple Leaf, and they would have the rights to grow the whole country of Canada. So,
and let me just say this. Some of the most successful small business people that I know own area development rights for cleaning franchises, and they are multimillionaires. This is no joke, and they started with $1,500 cleaning the local office building around the corner while they were still in high school. So this is the real deal. This is serious business, which, by the way, Paul, I just want you to know I got a text. We do have 8 people listening. My wife said, tell Paul I said hi. So
nice. Excellent. Hey, Ronnie. There's a shout out.
So let's take a break. Now I want to use Paul's jingle when we're going out, right? So go ahead and play Paul's jingle, and I'll have us leave on.
Can
Paul's
you do the
jingle.
dance?
I'm not going to do the dance. So, we got the jingle. You are listening to Local Biz Now. I am Joe Vagnone, and if you want to make a good living, Jantize America. If it's Friday morning, your business matters. We'll be right back.
Business ownership at a reasonable cost.
Jantize America.
Franchise on your own time. Partner with
The real source, real revenue for your town. Jantize America. You like that, Paul?
I like it. And we put it together quick, and there's some other things we're going to do with it. But, yeah, I think everybody needs a jingle. And if you don't have a jingle for your business, give me a call. I can hook you up.
Okay, Paul. Jeff, do we got a jingle? I have. If you got a jingle, Jeff, I've not heard it. Okay.
Everybody needs a jingle.
You know, it's funny that you say that, but I'm friends with a lot of professional musicians, and the Connells are one of them. And the keyboardist lives in Raleigh. Actually, Paul Band was originally from Raleigh, but I had him on his Yamaha DX7 write a jingle for me.
See?
Oh, so we do have a jingle.
If you don't have a jingle, you got to have a jingle. It's 2019.
Shame on me for thinking my partner would not protect me with a jingle. I should have known better. So, Paul, talk. I know you don't want to get into the weeds, but talk a little bit about the cost to get into a Jantize America, because the people I know literally started with 1 or 2 buildings and then grew into these master franchise territories.
Yeah, so again, like the jingle said, it's a reasonable cost. The unit franchisees can start with initially $5,000. And for that $5,000, along with training, support, all the back of the house, accounts payables, receivable, we have an online, I think of myself more of an IT guy with everything we do with the apps and online now at the billing, credit, collections. So $5,000, and then your area developer, whether you're in Charlotte or Nashville or Houston, your area developer is your sales and marketing team. So your sales and marketing guys go out there and get the business for the unit franchisees to service. And, I had a flashback on the way up to Statesville. I live at Lake Norman in Burkdale. On the way up to Statesville, about 20 minutes up the road, I took the fast track up there. Statesville, when I was out doing the sales, this was a phenomenal territory. All the plants, all the industries. I mean, some of these industries, some of these plants that were here, they're paying out $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 a month to clean those facilities. So, guys, some of those plants aren't there anymore, but there's all sorts of other things. And it's not sexy. It's not glamorous like all the businesses that Joe sells. But
that's funny.
It's scalability. It just continues to
Do
grow.
you have a franchisee in the Statesville area? I'm gonna get you one today. Do you have one today?
We have one, but Statesville certainly could have 4 or 5 because there's so much business out there.
See, the phone's already ringing. We're gonna
Nice.
So if you are interested in owning a Jantize territory or franchise, I want you to text me at 704-577-8030. Again, 704-577-8030. Text me. I'll get you the deal with Paul. I'll negotiate it. I'll reduce the price. I'll squeeze him until.
So, unlike your businesses, there's rules and regulations within franchising. The franchise disclosure document says what I can and what I cannot do. And we probably got to get Todd Horsfall, who I think you've met before, up here, because Todd is the area developer for the Charlotte Metro, which includes Iredell, Mecklenburg, Union counties. So Todd is the area developer. Todd has 2 or 3 sales guys out knocking on doors, building the business, and 40 franchises within the Charlotte territory. So Todd would be a great guy to have up on the show one day to talk about the area developer or master franchise.
So that's a great segue into moving into this direction. I'm really glad that Jeff is here because Jeff can represent us as Inline, but he also gets a chance to represent the International Business Brokers Association, and that is we as brokers interact with franchisors a lot in this process. Talk a little bit about that and what has changed with that, Paul, because that it continues to be
Well,
evolving.
I didn't know Jeff. Then I didn't know you knew Jeff so well.
You thought
too.
I was small time, didn't you?
I thought you were small time. And I think Jeff and I have a lot of acquaintances within the industry because there's a gap, and it was much larger between the traditional business broker who would sell the brick and mortar business on the corner in 5th and Main and the franchise business broker. But now, and Jeff, you know Don with the IFPG, you know Natalie with the Business Alliance Inc., and all the guys at FranServe, and of course FranNet and FranChoice. Those guys specialize in franchise sales. And as I mentioned, there's some rules and regulations that we must follow that protects the buyer, but there's a lot of commonalities with the franchise sale and the traditional business broker. Although the traditional business broker doesn't really understand some of the FDD, franchise disclosure documents that are outlined it. And guess what? When I sell Dallas, I'm selling an idea. This works in these other markets. When you sell Dallas or the business, you got to go through that whole P&L and say, look, this.
That's right. That's right. That's absolutely correct. I will tell you this, that I do a lot of franchise resales. And franchise resales, for me, are a little bit different than what you do. The rules and regulations you follow. What I follow is as a core set of values to make sure the buyer gets what the buyer thinks he's getting, the seller gets what the seller thinks he's getting, right? And this transaction for me doesn't matter if it's a franchise resale or it's an independent operation.
But that franchise resale needs to be approved by the franchisor. So you got one more level to go through.
That's correct. And that's just what I was going to say. What we do is once we get to a certain deal structure, then we'll hand it over to you and say, okay, here's a guy, we think he's good, go ahead and put him through that process. And they're also making sure they want to be involved in your organization as well, correct?
Absolutely, because that's what it is at Jantize America. It's a family, and we don't sell the unit franchise to anybody who has 5,000 or 10,000. And I've turned down more area developers or master franchisors because they just weren't good fit within our culture.
Well, and that's an important piece to this because, honestly, you're really doing them a favor, right? I mean, you've been doing this long enough to know, Joe, you're not going to really be good at this, right? You know what I mean? So,
Joe, you would not be good at this. There's a step-by-step plan we have to follow.
He's barely good at what he does, right?
Yeah, Jeff knows very well that trying to tell Joe what to do is probably not a good idea. But the truth is that the value in a franchise is twofold, and people miss the second one. The first one is you've already set it up, you've already done it, right?
Right.
But also you're continuing to make sure you're on top of the industry moving forward. That's what my independent businesses can't do because they're too busy running their business. You are constantly letting them know what the future of the industry is, and that is a real value moving forward.
Well, sure. And even looking at your list, 75% of your sponsors are franchisees, and the other 25% could be potential franchisors. And if they're interested in that, they could come see me.
So, Jeff, do you want to talk just briefly or ask Paul a question that has to do with the relationship between business brokerage moving forward and franchising? Is there a change happening there?
I think there is. I think Paul is dead on. So the traditional broker, let's go back to a ridiculous, the 80s. The Main Street broker didn't have any involvement with franchise sales or franchise resales. And just to put a little color and texture to that, a franchisor is typically interested in selling new units in new territories, new cities, whereas a transitional business broker would start looking at franchise resales, which is selling that franchise that was established maybe 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, to a new franchisee of the same system. So brokers saw that there's opportunity not selling the new unit franchise sales, but the resales of the going concerns in the markets that were set up some time ago. Now we're seeing, moving into 2019 and beyond, I know firms that sell new units, and they partner with multiple franchise systems and represent those opportunities to the type of buyers that are an ideal fit for a franchise-type system. And then if that entrepreneur is not a good fit for franchise and they're interested in a going concern, they can either present them with franchise resales or independent businesses. So he's right. The brokers are becoming more sophisticated. They have to know more types of businesses. They need to know how to represent them, market them, and of course, as we always go back to value them properly.
So Paul, that is an interesting piece that you and I talk about. You will call me and ask me to help you if you have a franchisee just thinking about selling, because that's not what you do well, right? You sell new territories and new franchises, and it's important that somebody is helping you put a valuation to existing operations. So we've only got about a minute, buddy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what? Wow, that was a short answer. Just say, hey, exactly. Hey guys, we got to cut this off. Jeff Snell, thank you so much, my friend. It has been a pleasure working with you for going on 5 years. You are the founder and president of Inline Business Brokerage and the chairman of International Business Brokers Association. And Paul Hohenport. Paul, thank you so much, my friend. I really do appreciate you. Please go to Jantize America and let's play his jingle on the way out. Let's do that. You are listening to Local Biz Now. If it's Friday morning, your business matters. Go to Jantize America and change your life today.